Is Microsoft going to announce a VR headset for Xbox? Today I'll break down what's happening in VR, why recent announcements make me think that Microsoft are developing a new Xbox headset, and also why I think it might not happen just yet. Let me know in the comments what you think, and stick around to the end, we've got plenty to talk about. So what's happening in VR right now? Well, let's look at the evidence. The tech industry are always looking for new markets to develop and exploit, and right now, there's no bigger hype than around the metaverse. Microsoft mentioned it during their recent purchase of Activision, and for it to be called out so prominently during an acquisition of this size shows their intent. But what does the metaverse have to do with Xbox and VR, I hear you say? Well, right now, nothing. But Microsoft clearly sees games, and therefore Xbox, as one way consumers will interact with the metaverse. Check out my video at the end to watch my take on the Activision deal, by the way. Yes, I'm aware that HTC, Valve and other players in the market have VR headsets, but these are likely to remain niche offerings. So today I'm going to focus on the big tech players as they have the global reach and recognition to push this into the mainstream. Sony already has PlayStation VR, which has sold 5 million units and received generally good reviews. But looking at the list of highlighted games on the PlayStation website, the list of games is limited. What is there looks to be of reasonable quality, but what's clear is that the biggest titles are yet to be VR compatible. Google has recently announced the creation of a team working on its own AR product, which will presumably dovetail with their mobile strategy in the coming years. Their computer offerings tend to have limited power, and they're a cloud-first company, so it's likely that whatever they release will be a standalone unit and require a powerful phone to plug into. Games are almost certain to be a key use case for such a device, although look for them to leverage search and maps as a way to monetize the product. Apple, long rumored to be working on a VR product, if it's like other Apple products, it won't release until it's ready, and almost certainly after everyone else. They'll look to leverage a second mover advantage like they have with the Apple Watch and the earbuds. Apple's entry into this space could be the key to mainstream acceptance of these devices, which could spur interest in VR for services you already own, such as Xbox and PlayStation. Apple will look to leverage their massive app and game library as well as their increasing television presence. Facebook own Oculus and have sold 10 million units. Now, despite these impressive sales figures, it's hard to argue that Oculus holds any kind of status within the gaming community. Right now, it's still just a niche oddity, but perhaps their first mover advantage and technological prowess will see them well placed in the coming VR wars. In fact, in the past few weeks, a large number of Microsoft employees have been poached by Meta to work on their VR platform. And finally, Microsoft, who dipped their toe in the water with their tepid support for Windows mixed reality headsets and more seriously with the HoloLens. Now, right now that's enterprise only and very expensive. Will they leverage this tech to bring out a consumer version for use with Windows 11 and the Xbox Series S and X? Well, let's find out. 4 reasons why I think an Xbox VR headset could happen. Number 1. Qualcomm's new chipset. At CES recently, Qualcomm announced the development of a chipset specifically for use with the Microsoft ecosystem. This is likely to be focused on the enterprise at first, but it's another piece of the puzzle for releasing an Xbox-focused chipset. They specifically mentioned lightweight standalone glasses, which sounds a lot like an Xbox headset to me. 2. Microsoft have acquired Activision. In the next 10 years, content will be key, and Microsoft clearly sees itself increasing as a cloud content provider for an emerging metaverse, and will want at least some control over the devices used to consume that content. By mentioning the metaverse so prominently during the Activision purchase, Satya Nadella signaled the direction of travel for the whole company, which is cloud gaming, AR and VR, and Xbox will play a big role in this. 3. History. The tech industry are always looking for new markets to target, and the metaverse, and by extension AR and VR, is next in everyone's sights. Historically, Microsoft has tried to compete in emerging markets. Just look at Xbox, Windows Phone, Band and Zune with varying degrees of success. Surely a consumer-centric VR solution will be next. They told us so. On a recent podcast, Chris Capocella, the head of marketing at Microsoft, recently called out digital twins as something to watch out for. Now, these are digitized versions of real-world objects, organizations, and services. Now, when the top executives publicly tell you to look at something, it's worth paying attention to. It doesn't necessarily link directly to Xbox, and for the moment, this is focused on the enterprise, but it's another sign that Microsoft are increasingly focused on the metaverse and AR and VR. 3 reasons why it won't happen yet. Number 1, history with hardware. Microsoft history with devices is patchy at best, with plenty of losses racked up along the way, with Surface as a rare outlier due to the quality of the product and the number of units sold, but even that had its problems in the beginning. Now, Xbox, despite its market position, doesn't actually make money on hardware. Rather, the ancillary services such as game sales and in-app purchases and now game streaming via Game Pass make up the bulk of its profits. They'll be wary of committing money and resources into another hardware adventure. 2. Game Pass. The success of Game Pass means Microsoft believe that streaming content to existing devices is a better route to success and profitability. As long as you subscribe to their gaming service, why should they care which device you use? Microsoft has also struggled to make money on hardware historically. This may dissuade them from spending time and engineering resources developing their own hardware. They do have an unrivaled hardware partner ecosystem for Windows, so perhaps they'll attempt to lure them into developing competing headsets for an Xbox VR marketplace. This would fit the model used previously for Windows devices. Number 3, the content isn't there yet. Yes, they purchased some of the world's biggest game studios, but as of right now, there isn't a huge library of games to take advantage of any new VR hardware. Now, this will surely come in time, but to release a headset in the next 18 months just doesn't make sense. So what do you all think? Should Microsoft release an Xbox headset? And if they did, would you buy one? And let me know in the comments below.